Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Monday, August 28th, 2017, and you're tuned in to episode 319 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story kicking off this Monday is the story published over at New Cannabis Ventures by site lead Alan Brockstein titled, quote, Desperate Massroots Overpays for CannaRegs, unquote, which pretty much sums up his piece as he dives into the numbers behind Massroots' recent all-stock $12 million acquisition of CannaRegs, an online service for people needing up-to-date legislative information on nationwide cannabis policy. This is a piece heavy with numbers and details, as Alan does a good job of laying out his reasoning on why he thinks the recent deal was overpriced. This is definitely a story you need to click over and read. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. One note on this one before we jump on to the next story. I know that Alan is based out of Houston and from the looks of his Twitter feed has some very high waters in front of his house right now. We hope things stay dry for Alan and that anyone else affected by the hurricane in the Houston area stays safe. The Denver Post is taking advantage of its unique perspective on Colorado's experiment with legal marijuana by launching a new series looking at the various ways the passage of Amendment 64 back in 2012 has affected their state. Their first few articles in the new series looks at how marijuana use could be impacting driving accident and fatality statistics, how people's attitudes about driving after consuming are evolving, and a look at how much we actually know about the science of marijuana and operating a motor vehicle. Click over to the Post for links to all three stories and keep an eye and an ear out for future stories in the Post's new series. Our final top story of the day is the alarming news that an official working under the administrative umbrella of the White House's Office of National Drug Control Policy, or ONDCP, has requested from Massachusetts and a number of other medical marijuana states data on their registered medical marijuana patients. The Boston Globe is reporting that Dale Quigley, deputy coordinator of the National Marijuana Initiative, which operates within the High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Area Program, requested from state officials data on registered medical marijuana patients' ages, gender, and medical conditions. The High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Area is a prohibitionist federal program known for massaging data and issuing misleading headlines and reports, so the insistence raised by Mr. Quigley when asked about the intentions of his program, that they were not looking to identify patients, should be taken with an abundance of skepticism, especially considering how he phrased his denial, saying, quote, "There are no black helicopters warming up in the bullpen. I have no idea where this is going to take us yet." Unquote. Yet. Massachusetts said they would hand over all information on patients that is already publicly available. Other states say they are studying the issue as to which information they will similarly hand over. This is a relatively small drop of water in the mucky sea of grift, scandal, and collusion that the Trump administration is currently mired in, but it's one that we need to be aware of in the industry. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out at headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, MJ Today Media, publishers of this podcast, our weekly show Marijuana Today, and the ever-popular MJ Today Media newsfeed, which gathers up all the day's relevant marijuana industry stories and organizes them by state. We know that right now the U.S. is made up of 50 little cannabis silos in terms of marijuana business and policy, and a lot of our listeners are looking for news in whatever particular state or region they're operating in. That's why we make it super easy to find your cannabis industry news by geography with the MJ Today Media newsfeed. There's no fluff with the newsfeed, just all the important cannabis news and headlines you need to know. Swing over to mjtodaymedia.com/newsfeed to subscribe yourself if you haven't already. Seriously, everyone's doing it. That's mjtodaymedia.com/newsfeed. Get hooked in and caught up to date today with the MJ Today Media newsfeed. All right, time for the Blitz. Another day and another story about a large round of money being raised in Canada to build out a large marijuana cultivation and processing facility. This time it's the Cronos Group, which just announced closing on a $32 million US round of funding to build a 315,000 square foot facility in Ontario to grow and process cannabis. When the new facility is completed, it will be capable of churning out just under 90,000 pounds of marijuana per year, or just over 240 pounds per day. Stat News has a good high-level look at the state of marijuana investing, specifically the interest being shown by traditional Silicon Valley investment giants like Benchmark Capital in legal marijuana startup companies. In a bit of name-dropping disclosure on this one, my buddy Troy Dayton, CEO of the ArcView Group and one of our regulars, albeit infrequent, over at Marijuana Today, and my friend Ben Larson, founder of Gateway Cannabis Incubator and a past advertiser of Marijuana Today Daily, are both mentioned and quoted in this story. A good one to read and share. Penn Live has a wonderful story about a program in Pennsylvania that is allowing adolescent medical marijuana patients to use medical cannabis before the state's medical marijuana program is up and running. The so-called Safe Harbors program allows medical patients under the age of 18 and their adult caregivers to secure letters from the state that protect them from prosecution for having medical marijuana purchased outside of Pennsylvania. As Penn Live's piece makes clear, the letters have been hugely beneficial for patients and caregivers by providing them peace of mind that they won't be arrested for using the medicine that works best for them. The city of Baltimore is dealing with how it will handle the soon-to-begin opening of 11 medical marijuana dispensaries, as currently the city, unlike Baltimore County, classifies dispensaries the same as it does pharmacies, meaning no special hearings or considerations are necessary beyond those required by the state for opening up medical dispensaries within city limits. The City Council just announced that they will be holding a hearing on the matter at 1 p.m. on Wednesday to hear feedback from the public on how the medical shops could impact the city. We'll report back on this one as things develop. Mary Jane picked up on a well-written article put together by the think tank Third Way that lays out some of the history behind progressive marijuana policy reform. If you want to round out your knowledge of how we got to where we are today, I'd suggest clicking over to Mary Jane for a link to the Third Way's article to dive into fully yourself. In one of those cultural change stories, Netflix announced late last week that they've developed cannabis strains branded for some of their popular in-house shows, including the new Kathy Bates lead Disjointed, which tells the story of Bates as an aging hippie dispensary owner living in post-Prohibition California. Besides Disjointed, Netflix also is offering branded strains for shows like Arrested Development, BoJack Horseman, and Orange is the New Black. This is more of a headline generator than anything, with the promotional strains only available for one day on Friday at a pop-up dispensary in West Hollywood. And finally for today, we have news of the positive economic benefits that attendees of the annual Burning Man Festival taking place in Black Rock City, Nevada, are having on the legal adult use marijuana dispensaries located in Reno, where most burners either fly into or transit through on their way out to the playa. With this past weekend being the first days that most burners start to show up in Reno, business has reportedly been stout in every city dispensary. This is the first year that legal adult use marijuana has been available in the state ahead of Burning Man, but Mikel Alvarez, director of retail at the Bloom dispensary, told My4 News that they had anticipated the increased demand and stocked up on supply. In a city that's getting pretty good at handling the annual demands of the Burning Man rush, this will likely settle in and just become another part of the flow. To all my friends out at Black Rock City right now, have fun, and I'll see you next year. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at MJTodayDaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, MJ Today Media, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today. Today.
One take, Shay. One take.